Do you ever get a feeling that you were destined to be someone great? To be someone who people looked up to? Someone who left people feeling inspired? Someone who left a massive impact on this planet? Yeah, I feel that, which is why I'm starting this channel.
Roll it up, little bit. Roll it up, little bit. Roll it up, little bit.
Hey, what's up? My name is Magikai, and it's about time I started posting on YouTube. I always knew that I would post on YouTube at some point. I've always wanted to make videos, but now I feel like I finally have enough value to provide to people in terms of business, in terms of my mindset, that I think it could benefit others. The purpose of this video is to do a little bit of a dive into how I even got to this point. So I think a really good place to start would actually be when I was 19 years old, and that was a really pivotal time for me. So I'll start at the very beginning of that and go from there. So when I was 19, I was living with my girlfriend at the time. I was working at Ace Hardware, you know, not typical 9 to 5, helping people with, construction projects or garden projects or just things that I didn't have very much interest in at all. But I was going to college at the time too. So I was studying to try to become a marine biologist because I was really into the ocean, into surfing, and figured that's, something I could see myself doing. At the time, I was really broke. I didn't have any support from my mom or my grandparents or anything like that financially, so I really was on my own, and I had to figure things out to make ends meet. I was working at Ace Hardware about 4 or 5 days a week, and then going to school full time as well. When I was at Ace, I constantly would watch YouTube videos on my lunch breaks, and one day I stumbled across a video called How I Made $500 in a Day with Shopify, and it was by a YouTuber named Sebastian Georgiou. Little did I know that this video was actually going to be the catalyst to my whole journey up until this point. It was really what caused me to get into entrepreneurship. Overall, the YouTube videos were really helpful, and I really was interested in this guy because he was my age. He was making $500 a day, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna watch more of this kid. I'm inspired now. One day I was at work and I had just gotten there, so I was kind of out of it in the morning. I was a little sleepy, and then I hear this voice on the loudspeaker, and it's my manager saying, hey Magikai, can you come back to the back office? And I was like, oh shit, like I've never gotten called to the back office before. It's probably not a good thing. And I show up. She says, hey, you're late pretty much every day from your lunch. I don't know why, but we've told you this before, and we're gonna have to let you go. So I was fired that day, and I didn't really know what to do. I decided, okay, let me try reaching out to some friends and just seeing if maybe I can get a job somewhere. My friend Ian actually told me about a job at the Shadowbrook, which was a pretty fancy restaurant, and a lot of wealthy people went there. A lot of people went there for celebrations, and I was like, okay, you know what, let's just do it. I have really no choice. I had to make money ASAP. And so I went to this restaurant as a busboy. I was bussing tables. I was cleaning up people's plates and stuff like that, and I was pretty much miserable. I really did not like the atmosphere there because it was a lot of people who weren't very respectful to me. The company culture wasn't that great, honestly. Didn't really feel like they cared. And I mean, who likes cleaning dishes and stuff? I don't know anybody that likes doing that. So, I was still watching these videos and still trying to figure out, what can I do? How can I make this Shopify dropshipping store work? I remember at the time too, I was really manifesting my future. I remember having visions of me driving a really nice car, of having a really great apartment, surfing every day, basically just living the life that I wanted, my dream life. And this, in my opinion, was really what made me start to take action and really implement what was in those videos. So I started to actually implement and save money so that I could start ads in order to sell these products on this online store. I remember the night before I launched the ads, I was really nervous. I was not sure if this was even gonna work because I didn't know anybody that could help me out at the time. I found this random product online that was like these roll-up lunch kits. They had like forks and knives and like chopsticks that you could take on the go. And I was like, hey, maybe people will like these, because at the time I was constantly eating my car. So I was like, oh, having something like that would be helpful just to, whenever I bought food, I ate in my car. So that night I launched the ads and I went to sleep. I woke up, nothing. There was no sales or anything. And I was like, dang, maybe this isn't gonna work. But I remember watching a video that said, just let them run all day and you may end up, seeing some sort of results, some sort of sales or something. Around noon rolled around and then I heard this like, and I was like, oh shit, there's a sale. And I started getting really excited, jumping up and down, like running around. And I knew that, okay, this could probably work. Like this may be something really, really special here. And so I continued to work, I continued to go to school. And throughout that time, I was actually starting to scale the ads. I remember making $50 a day, $100 a day, $250 a day. And then eventually I was having $500 days. This was all happening while I was at work making like $12 an hour and maybe like $20 to $40 in tips a night from that restaurant. One night, I remember I had to clean up the whole entire section all by myself. It was quiet, nobody out. All the customers had left. And I get this order for like $300 or something like that. And I was like, what am I doing here right now? So I went up to my manager. I said, hey, I'm quitting right now. I have something else going on. I'm making a lot of money doing that. And he asked me, he's like, are you not gonna put in 2 weeks or anything? Like, what's going on? I said, no, my time is better spent doing this other thing right now. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go. And then I got out of there. This is around the time when I started having intrusive thoughts about dropping out of school. I never was a big fan of school. I was going to a community college. I did terribly in high school with grades. One day I was in math class, and if anyone who's watching this knows me, they know I did not like math class. That was my least favorite class. I was bored out of my mind. And one day I was in math class. I got a few orders on my phone. I looked down and I'm like, wow, just made like a few $100s just sitting here. I look up at my math teacher. Don't even know what she was talking about at that point. So I just stood up, walked out the room, didn't say a word. And by the time I left campus, I had dropped all of my classes. I gave my mom a phone call on my way home saying, hey, I dropped out of college. I'm pretty sure she was crying on the phone, but trying not to. I was just like, Mom, just trust me. Like, I'm not gonna need a degree for what I'm doing right now. There's kids doing way bigger numbers than me and they've never went to college, so just give me a chance here. She didn't know what to think. She really had no idea what I was doing anyways. I tried explaining it to her, but most people in their 40s they don't understand like online sales and marketing. So all I told her was, yeah, like I got something that's working right now. I'm making good money with it, and just pretty much left it at that. The next few weeks were amazing. I remember having $500 days, $1,000 days, and even some $2,000 days. And I remember checking the statement for my store and it said $100,000. I was ecstatic. I was like, holy crap, I just made $100,000 in 1 month. Like, I don't even know anybody that was doing that at the time except for these YouTubers I was watching. So I got a little bit greedy. I said, okay, what if we just duplicate this store and start selling other products, start scaling those? This was where my lack of business experience really got to me, and I learned for the first time what happens when you get greedy in business. So I started working with a supplier from China off a website called AliExpress. I found these waterproof earbuds that people really liked, so I started selling them. Ads were working great. I was scaling pretty aggressively, and one day I got a email from a customer saying, hey, I got the box, but they were empty. Like, there was nothing in it. And I was like, what do you mean? So I ran a little bit of investigation and found out that I was doomed. I got scammed really, really, really bad. Found out that my supplier didn't ship out anything. They didn't ship out a single product that I had ordered for all these customers. I had paid for the marketing, I had paid for all the product, and then I had all these people hitting me up for refunds and chargebacks, and it was just a complete disaster. At the end of it, I had been about $16,000 in debt. all my profits got wiped out. And to make matters worse, my ex-girlfriend at the time wanted to break up. So I moved out of that house and had to go live back with my mom again. This period of my life, I went from cloud 9 all the way down to rock bottom within a matter of about 1 month. And I remember being really, really depressed during this time. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, am I a failure? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, how could this have happened? There was a major lesson that I learned during that point, which was you need to take major accountability for your actions. Prior to this, I never really had to take major accountability unless it was like I failed my math test or something like that. But now there was money on the line. I had all this debt stacked up and there was no one saving me. It was literally all up to me to make this work out. This is when I started to get really inspired. I was putting things on my wall that had like motivational quotes, and I was like, okay, like, we're gonna come out of this, we're gonna be okay. My grandparents and my mom had actually sat me down one day and said, hey, like, you need to get a job because, you know, I don't know what you're doing, but, you know, you're all in all this debt and you need to go get a regular job. I told them, you know, hey, I'm gonna make this work, just give me a little bit of time. You know, I wanna make sure that I pursue something I'm interested in instead of just going to work some 9-to-5 that I absolutely hated. And they told me, Kai, you just need to be realistic. I totally ignored this. I was really convinced that no matter what, I was gonna make this work out because, like I said, I had seen all these teenagers on YouTube making all this money, so I knew it was possible. It was just a matter of making it work out. So I had just asked them, hey, can you just give me 3 months to make this work? During those 3 months, I had focused on building a marketing agency. I saw a course from a guy named Billy Wilson. He was a kid who was doing really big numbers and he was promising that he was going to show us how to set up a marketing agency. And so I bought the course and it was probably the best decision of my life up until that point. I had started to sign clients on for $1,000 to $2,000 a month pretty quickly. Within a matter of time, I had already paid off all the debt and I told my mom, hey, you know, I'm good now. Like, I'm going to move out. She was still a little skeptical that what I was doing was even legal, but I told her, don't worry about it, you know, I'll be good. Moving out was probably the second best day of my life because I'd finally overcome all those challenges that I had set up for myself in the first place. Something I had also learned was that sometimes you really have to eat shit or you have to go through hard things to be able to get to where you want. Prior to this, like I said, there was nothing in school that was teaching me this, so I had learned the hard way. I had to go through so much stress to be able to get to a place where I can ultimately create money for myself, not have to rely on anybody else for it. Now I'm actually in a spot where I can travel, I can do anything I want, I can basically live my life on my terms, which has honestly been game changing for me. I've been able to meet such amazing people, been able to go to exotic locations, to meet people who are doing big things in life, and honestly, I would not have been able to do this if I didn't see that YouTube video on a random lunch break. Really, the purpose of this channel is to be able to help people with, you know, their mindset, be able to get them in a spot where they do have financial freedom and, you know, just be myself. I really feel like now I have a very strong mindset on life and business, and I feel like that is going to be really valuable to other people who might not be in a spot where, you know, they want to be. One of my main purposes in life is to help people and inspire people to become the best versions of themselves and achieve freedom. Whatever that looks like to anybody, freedom is one of the best gifts that you can possibly have and give to yourself and the people around you. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching it all the way to the end of this video. And I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. And please drop a comment below if you have any stories that you want to tell, or if you want to see any future videos from me on any topic, just let me know. I'll see you in the next one.